Hi there, I'm Chris Lowe, and this is the first episode in our AI podcast series where we'll be having various guests from around the sa.global organization to talk about AI. And this is our first one today, and welcome Moacyr. Good to see you again, and I don't know if you just want to introduce yourself
Hi, Chris.
before we
Thank you for
start.
having me. Great. So I'm Moacyr Galo. I'm the Chief AI Officer at sa.global. And I'm the head of sa.global Labs, right? That is based in Portugal, basically.
Great, thanks, Moacyr. And today we're going to start talking about our plans for AI and introduce how products and sa.global labs are working together to achieve the kind of goals of AI that we're working on. So shall we kind of start the discussion, Moacyr, talking about the concept of routine and transformative AI that probably we've talked about in the Ask Chris series, but it'd be good to kind of elaborate a bit more on it now, if you could.
Yeah, that's great. I think that that's really part of the positioning, right? That we are doing in the combination of products and sa.global Labs, right? Um, Because when we talk about routine AI, what we are trying to explain is this productivity boost that we expect, right, with AI, focus on automation that starts on the productivity level of the individual, um, and then of course for the department level where that person works or the group that is surrounding, right, the activities by that specific user into the system. Um, and that's exactly the kind of solutions that we can expect from coming from horizontally from Microsoft, but from the products, right, Chris? That's exactly what you're doing and focusing on that side. But from the labs, we are just creating this additional layer on top of that, what we're calling this transformational AI or transformative AI, which is basically breaking the silo of the just the individual or of the department and just taking a more holistic perspective, right, of the entire organization processes, and then combining different data sets from different systems, from different silos, right, and then orchestrating all that information that will be used for the innovations and capabilities that we know copilots or agents will bring to the organization as well.
That's great. Thanks, Moacyr. So kind of from the product perspective, the routine, some examples of what we're doing is kind of we're trying to focus on, as you say, saving time and giving that productivity boost for people, focusing on a persona as well, focusing on saving them time doing the tasks they need to do for their role. So some kind of examples that we've started to work on are suggestions around invoice. So the key things are kind of invoicing and time of recording. So we're kind of focusing on trying to save them the user time by improving the ease and speed of collaboration around invoicing, but also how accurate and easy it is to create your timesheets as well. So we're very much focusing on those routine tasks from a product's perspective.
That's great. And so let me give some example of what would be transformative in that case, right? Imagining that we'll have agents, right? That not only look to the execution of the projects as we are talking here, but look into previous stages when you sign the contract, right? Or during the sales stages that define the work that needs to be done, the hourly rates defined for a project, for example, and the expected contribution margin for that initiative to the organization. And then we certainly will be able to cross that data as a baseline for the execution. And then with combining those two data sets, we'll be able to have some kind of project manager agent that proactively will predict the probability to achieving the contribution margins that were defined during the sales cycle, right? So that's the combination of what we are talking here, right? Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's kind of all been done with this intelligence layer, Moacyr, is that, and that really kind of is all built on the Microsoft, similar to the product. It's all Azure, and it's also I believe going to kind of future proof as technology and innovation fastly changes over the next few years. That intelligence layer will provide the ability to keep up with that. Is that correct, Moacyr?
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that the value that we are bringing to our clients, it's exactly this digital representation of service-centric processes, right? That are represented into this knowledge base, right? This knowledge graph that we are collecting. So as soon as we structured all the data in that single point, um, we basically use the entire Azure framework, right? Of tools to make that happen. And I think that's important to understand because when we compare other ERP vendors, for example, they are much more focused only on the systems of record on the ERP or CRM and that aspect, right? But that's a huge differentiation for Microsoft in that aspect because we consider Dynamics as just uh, part of billions of dollars that Microsoft invested to make that connected, right? On that side. And yeah, so we are leveraging all that technology, but specifically focused to connect the silos to enrich those data sets that will be used by our agents and copilots and automations that we are talking.
And one of the key things that often comes up with AI is the security and context and hallucinations as well. Is that kind of all going to be built in protection and prevention and security into the intelligence layer as well?
Yes. So when we've been talking to our clients, right, in the field, that's the major concern that they have, right? We know that the problem of hallucination when we just focus on generative AI. But yeah, so of course, we use the LLM models and generative AI as part of this entire set of tools that we have available. But we are combining this with other tools and other technologies to secure that the conversations that we are having or the automations that we can expect from agents will follow strict uh, security policies right inside the system. And we are creating in our intelligence layer this capacity to extract the security roles from different systems and then merge them into a model that will use that, right? Those policies to isolate the data that you have access or not, and even will allow you to talking to this model to extend this to some specific purposes as well. So yes, as we have decades of experience on working with ERP, right, on CRM, and we know how important it is to enforce security policies and rules for everything we are doing, right?
Yeah, and this intelligence layer as well be something that would be able to plug into all our Empower apps and products as well. So it's kind of something that can be part of the products as well, and we can share that platform and all the functionality that you're adding, Moacyr, as well, which will be great. So what about the customers as well? What do they need to start thinking about as part of this journey for AI, and how can sa.global Labs help on that process?
Well, I think that's as we said before, right? So we have different levels of usage for AI that starts from the individual level, right? On how you can expand your productivity, how you can use the tools that Microsoft has been providing to all the users in that level. What we are working together, right, Chris, is how we expand this to the product side, right? And having assistance and extend the scope of productivity, giving the users the proper tools that they need to execute their job properly, right? And have more informative features into the product so they can in scale execute and bring more value to their functions into the system. And I think that in the future, so I think it's a process, right? Because then it's change, right? In communication. Usually we see technology moving faster than the adoption inside the companies. And from our perspective, we are not only pushing technology or features or functionalities, but we have a methodology that can guide our clients right into this journey to the transformation layer. Because when we talk about transformation, sometimes processes needs to be redesigned, right? Because we will have some agents acting during the process to do some proactive interactions with the users as well. And that needs to be a process, right, that happens naturally, depending of the maturity of the organizations, of the users, and the companies. But there is an important element here. We are always focusing on the value that this brings. We're not implementing this because it's cool, because it's AI, everybody's doing, right? We are doing this because it makes sense, because this will bring value to the organizations, right? And because we are always measuring the impact that this causes. And if it doesn't move the needle in terms of the results that it has to implement, it doesn't make sense. So we need to work on this. We have to respect the maturity. We have to respect the internal culture, the internal policies. Another thing that is important here, we are always transferring the knowledge to our clients, to all the tools we are using. And that's the point of using Microsoft Azure stack on that, right? So everything we are doing, it's implemented, we've implemented into the client's tenant using standard Microsoft Azure components, right? And as soon as the internal IT department is aware, so they are secure that they can extend and use, right, the approach, methodologies, and the tools we're providing to them, they can do by themselves, right? And then we are going to respect that timing, and because basically we want to be uh, long-term trustful partners to our clients.
Oh, that's great, Moacyr. So just final thoughts then, how can a kind of a service-centric customer start that journey? What would be the advice for the next steps for them?
Well, that's the positioning that we are doing after the recent acquisition that we made from Noicos, right? And so we have a special team that is dedicated exclusively, right, to identify the use cases for each of our clients, right? Because as I said before, the focus is not to implement just the feature, the functionality, and push AI, but the focus is just to deliver business results, right? And there is a process to best select how the organizations can start, and then we can conduct a process, right? It's a workshop that we do that does exactly that. And then during this workshop, yes, after we identify a meaningful initiative that brings value to the organization, but is feasible, we have proper data, because let's not forget that, right? Despite the fact the tremendous and potential of this technology, if we don't have proper access to data, the data is not structured in the proper way, nothing happens, right, in that side. So we just need to make sure that initiatives will deliver, right, the promised intended results on that side. So that's the recommendation. So let's focus on solving problems, and especially we like hard problems, not the easiest ones, because the hard problems will be the ones who brings greater value, right?
Well, that's great. Thanks, Moacyr. Thanks for your time. And we'll end the first episode here.
Great. Thank you, Chris.